Hey guys, it's Tim Shermack, and welcome back to another episode of the Platform Marketing Show. I'm joined this morning by Brandi Long, who's in Arcadia, Florida, kind of the DeSoto County, Central Florida area. Brandi, welcome to the Platform Marketing Show.
Thank you so much for having me.
So let's dive straight into some details here, because this is pretty impressive. Brandi is on pace again to sell or to close over 100 transactions this year. I think you're at 95 right now. Is that what you said?
Yes.
And we are recording this, by the way, towards the end of October in 2024. So when we say that she's on pace to do 100, like she's definitely going to get 100 by the end of the year. There's still 2 full months for the end of the year, and I'm sure you have a bunch in your pipeline set to close before the end of the year. You signed up for Platform just 90 days ago. So this is going to be a really interesting episode because this is not one of those stories where, hey, I've been with Platform for 2 years or I've been with Platform for a whole year and here's how it changed my business, right? You've just joined basically 90 days ago. So it's, end of October here. You basically signed up in June, July. Obviously, people listening this can do the math. Well, that means you were already very successful before Platform. You did not sign up for Platform because, hey, I have a failing business. I desperately need more closings. I'm hoping Platform saves my business, right? It's like, no. You were already very successful as an agent before Platform marketing. And you signed up in what's going to be one of your best years, ever. Walk me through why in the first place you decided to sign up for this platform marketing strategy, even though you were already killing it. I mean, like you were already on pace to basically close 100, transactions this year. What made you think, hey, I'm going to add some marketing?
Honestly, like true transparency, that is what I pride myself on. We did 144 closings last year, so we won't even get there this year. And that last year was insane.
Is it just you? Do you have a team? What is that 100 transactions comprising?
It's me, just me. My mom is the broker. She kind of helps me out in the background, like going to showings if I can't get there, but it's just me and then her. And then we have 2 full-time assistants.
Okay, so to be clear, when you say, hey, we're doing 100 transactions this year, it's not like me and 4 buyer's agents or, it's basically
No.
you and a couple assistants, but you are the agent.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be the next hire is probably someone that's already experienced in real estate that I could just hand because right now it's such a blessing, but I have too many leads coming in. So I need someone to hand those, praying that God sends that perfect person here soon. But yeah, last year we did 144 closings. I'm hoping that we'll reach 120 this year. So we've got about 18 under contract right now. But in regards to your question, why? In April of this year, I had stumbled upon a Facebook ad that y'all had ran. I don't know what it was. I can't even tell you. And then I kind of just stopped and looked at it for more than 3 seconds. So obviously another one was shown to me and I kind of looked into it. And at that point, we were really drowning. And I'm thinking, man, this would be amazing to be able to have some time and leverage and pay someone to do the marketing for us, even though that's one of my favorite parts of this job is the marketing of it. But I just couldn't dedicate that amount of time and
Right.
creativity to creating the ads. And so I had connected with Diana. And at that time, I was like, I don't know. Here in Arcadia, I'm selling, $10,000 lots. I'm selling $150,000 houses. We're not selling Sunset over here. So that's a really big investment.
Yeah. So you have all sorts of price ranges there. And I know that in the Arcadia, DeSoto County area, it's not super duper luxury wealthy. What is your median average price for a single family home in your area?
It's going to be probably around 230 to 240. The cheapest lot I've ever sold was $2,500. But I mean, we've also sold, over $1 million for a commercial piece of property. So it's very much, you have to know a lot.
And it really puts into perspective too when you say, hey, we're going to close over, 100 deals this year. It's like, well, your average commission check is probably like $5,000, right? If you were to average it out.
It's literally probably not even that, but yes.
For you to sell or achieve really 100, 120, 140 units, it's like, yeah, you're bringing in probably 400, 500, potentially even 600,000 in gross commission. But a lot of agents can make that much money by selling 30 homes a year. Right? In their markets, and you're having to hustle to sell 100 plus homes a year. So I hope this podcast episode is interesting for people across the country that are in a market like that. So just that you
Mhm.
realize like you're not alone. There are many agents
Yeah.
in those $200,000 price markets that
Yeah.
are absolutely killing it. Brandy's one of them, and I'm looking forward to sharing what you're doing that's working.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, to close 144 closings last year, we were working like 60, 70 hours a week, every week. Thank God that we love it. We do it
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
the kids are with us and we all just, try to be intentional with our time and do everything. But yeah, it is exhausting and so much fun.
So it was April that you apparently saw one of Platform's Facebook ads. You got
Yeah.
connected with Diana. You said, "Hey, what's this
Yeah.
about?" And I'm guessing that your mental calculus at the time wasn't really, I need better marketing so we can sell more homes, as much
Yeah.
as this is a time saving
Mhm.
strategy for me. If I
Yeah.
can hire Platform and it saves me even frankly 5 hours a week of time, then that's absolutely worth it to free up your time to sell more houses. Was
Yeah.
that the thought process?
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, there was a little bit of fear involved too, because I know if I'm seeing the ads, there are other agents around me that could possibly be seeing the ads. So there was a little bit, we're already the top, producing agents in our county. And we never want to have to be chasing after someone. We always want to be looking forward. And so this felt like a good thing to take on so that we could go further in other ventures. We went to an event where Platform was in April, and I told Diana I would stop by the booth and talk to her, and I didn't because I was so scared. I'm the most introverted extrovert. And so I didn't. And then my mom and I were in my office and we were chatting one day during the summer in July. And I'm like, I see this Platform. And she's like, I've been seeing it too. Let's just do it. And so we decided that she was going to pay for Platform. I was going to pay for the actual Facebook ads. And then we said we were going to go all in. I even told Trinity last week, if you give me 8 ads, I will do 8 ads. I do not want this to fail. I don't want to get to the 6 month mark because that's what we gave ourselves, 6 months to
Sure.
make sure this was successful. I didn't want to get to that and think that maybe it was me. I wanted it to be completely like, no, Platform is crap. No, we're not going to do that. I wanted
Yeah.
to
Yep.
really test it out.
I think that's so important what you just said, that because any marketing investment, whether it's Platform or not, it's very ambiguous and sometimes it's hard to measure if it's working and how well it's working because, obviously there's so many variables that go into measuring ROI when you're a small business owner, because you might get a straight up lead that comes from one of the Platform marketing campaigns, like an actual lead that comes through the CRM that's like, this is from this Platform marketing campaign, right? So that's pretty obvious to know where that business came from if it's that straightforward. 90% of the time, it's not that straightforward. 90% of the time, the phone calls you get, the messages you get, it might be a friend of a friend. It might be a past client's cousin, or maybe it's a past client you just lost contact with and they saw some of your Platform style Facebook ads, but they never actually clicked on any. And then they call you and maybe you even go show them a house or you go to the listing appointment, and then and only then do they mention, oh yeah, I've been seeing you on Facebook. And you kind of realize, like, if you hadn't volunteered that information, if you hadn't gone out of your way to tell me that, you would have never known to, give credit to
Yeah.
Platform for that deal. And that's kind of the conversation we're so often having with our clients. Is it's not that we want to take credit for every transaction you do, because that wouldn't make
Yeah.
sense either. But you have to realize with any marketing you do, you have to be aware that it's not going to be as straightforward as a Zillow lead, right? I
Right.
think, frankly, that's why agents got so addicted to Zillow over the years. Wasn't even necessarily the quality of the leads, but it was so straightforward to measure
Sure.
what's the ROI
Yeah.
of how much I'm paying Zillow, because 100% or 0% is this a
Mhm.
Zillow lead,
Yeah,
right?
for
But when
sure.
you're doing actual marketing that's about building a brand, and it might be a video of you at a local small business talking about your favorite coffee shop or your favorite bakery to get pastries or your favorite place to grab a slice of pizza or whatever, that's not necessarily going to create a very obvious, oh, this lead came from this video. So you're 90 days in, you're not 6 months, and you said you were going to give it 6 months.
Yeah.
So this would be really awkward if you quit in 90 days, but you're 90 days in. What are you seeing so far? Is Platform working? Is it not? What have been the feedback from your community? What is the vibe right now that you're about 3 months in?
We were already very social on social media. And so people would comment here and there about our social media and like, you know, y'all are ahead of the times. Cause I always tell everyone Arcadia is about 20 years behind everyone. So we still receive a fax every now and then. It's wild. I would say the biggest change that we've seen or that we've kind of seen over the past 90 days is definitely like more people, um, and this kind of, let me back up a little bit. I had always been thinking we need to do video, like some more. We had been using professional marketing or professional photography, but no one had been doing video. I know, like I said, 20 years behind everyone. And so I'm like, I really want to do video. And then when I had that first call with Andrew Madsen, he's like, we're going to want you to do listing videos. I'm like, okay. I know I should be doing that, but do I really, really have to do that? And he said, for sure. So I'm like, okay, I will do it. And so we started doing the videos. And I think that is really what platform, the first benefit of platform was pushing me to do videos.
Yeah.
And I don't have the time to take my cell phone and do the videos. So we do hire a professional videographer.
Sure.
But since we've done 16 listing videos in the past 90 days.
Wow.
And then,
Okay.
so a lot of people have been commenting on the videos. Like, we see you all over. I see like that listing video was super cool because we try to keep it like interesting and not boring.
Right.
And so I would say just the Publix, I mean, everywhere I go, everywhere mom goes, she's at the gas station. They're like, Brandi is just all over Facebook, all over. She's like killing those videos. And so I think that's been the biggest like thing that we've seen over the past 90 days.
So people are telling you in real life, hey, I love that video, or I love that post you did.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Is there any specific like retargeting ad that you've done that you can think of in the last couple months that people actually mentioned to you in real life? Oh, I love such and such post.
The one that people reached out to me about the most and people still talk to me about is the first ad we ever did with platform.
Oh, really?
Andrew assigned me the one where I'm holding up a dollar bill in downtown, like,
oh, okay, sure.
You know, dollar, yeah. And that one was shared so many times, had so many comments. It was shared again the other day, even though the ad's 90 days old. And then people still, like, if I stop a lot downtown Arcadia, like little shops, and everyone still comments on that and how right on it was. And someone just needed to put the words to what everyone was feeling. So that one was really stood out in my mind. And then the one that was like, holy moly, that's really good marketing, was the one where Trinity had me stand in front of a house with a sign, and then they like photoshopped 100 signs for sale signs behind us. That one was like, dang, that really like puts it into perspective. Right, it's not like 4 signs, it's like 100.
So for people listening that have no idea what we're talking about here, that first ad that Brandi mentioned, basically what we have the client do is you hold like a $1 bill, and then we wrote some ad copy that goes along with that basically just talks about your dollar goes further when it's spent locally. And then we just kind of list off all the ways that people don't think of, like, hey, if you spend $1 at a local boutique, for example, versus buying something off Amazon or whatever, that boutique now keeps the wages in the community that employs someone who works there. They might go spend money at the local coffee shop on their lunch break. Right now, the coffee shop has money, and it, just obviously the cash flow circulates much more if you keep your dollars local. And there's the cool thing about that ad, the psychology of that ad, is there's a built-in incentive for the community to share it. Because obviously if you own a small business, you're like, oh yeah, like definitely. And then so they're going to share that video for you. So often we're thinking about that next level of kind of ad psychology when we write ads at platform. Is like, it's not just always about real estate. It's about what incentive structures can you create with your social media that actually incentivize other people to share it for you. So it kind of like gives you extra reach above and beyond your actual ads budget. And then the second ad that Brandi just mentioned there is I'm actually not even sure what we call that ad.
It's like not your average agent, I think.
Yeah. I'm not even sure what we call it internally, but basically what we do is we have you send us a picture of you standing next to one of your listing signs in a yard somewhere. And then our ads team basically crops out the sign and then duplicates it and photoshops it so there's like actually like 100 signs in the yard, and it just looks ridiculous, right?
Yeah,
Because
it's so cool.
obviously we do however many homes you sold last year. So if you sold 20 homes last year, which more people are frankly closer to
Right.
20, 30, etc., then there'll be 20, 30 signs in the yard. But we make it look pretty realistic where it's like, oh, wow, there's actually 27 signs in that yard, whatever. Brandi had 100. So it just looks absolutely ridiculous. But it's like, here's how many actual, transactions we had last year. So it visually puts
Mm-hmm.
things into perspective of just how many homes you guys are selling compared to the
Right.
average agent.
Yeah.
And that's I think what good social media does, is it's not just empty bragging with words, but you always find an interesting, compelling visual that hooks you in. Because if you can hook them in with something visual, whether it's a photo or a video, then they'll actually read some of the ad copy, right? But I think a lot of people spend a lot of time writing an essay, writing ad copy, and then they don't do a whole lot of thinking about how am I actually going to convince people to stop scrolling and
Right.
read this. And you
Right.
could have the most, badass essay ever, but if no one reads it because there's not a catchy image with it, then there's no point.
So true.
So you've been with it for 90 days now. Have you gotten any leads who mentioned seeing your Facebook posts, or what has been the ROI? I know it's only 90 days
Yeah.
in, so it's kind of hard to judge, but
I think just more of, um, people want to, when we show up to listings, we're mainly a listing. I'm mainly a listing agent. I do some with buyers, but just based off past and other marketing, we've just always kind of been more heavily on listings. And I will say people look for several reasons to hire you. Like they want to see you everywhere. And I think the more reasons you give them to hire you, the easier it is for them to just not even look at the listing agreement. They just blindly sign it. And so I think doing the videos when we go to listing appointments, they already know what we can do. And most of the time we don't ever get shopped when we show up to a listing. They don't call anyone else. And they already have their mind made up just because of social proof. And, now that we've added ads on top of that, they're also getting to the people that I didn't have as personal friends on my Facebook. They're getting marketed to on the business page. And like we just ran one, it just went out this morning about capable kids, about my kids being like putting out signs and helping me, that they kind of already get to know me and they feel like we're BFFs by the time we
yep,
get there and ready to sign on the dotted line. So
I love that
I
ad.
would say it's just more social proof and just more like, okay, I can't not hire her. Like she's given me like, I can't go
Yeah,
interview anyone else.
because they actually at some sort of like, primal level, they feel like they know you, even if
Yeah.
they've never met you. They feel like they know you.
Yep.
That is really, to me, the role of platform marketing, and how we fit into the agent's overall marketing plan, is that I want like the real value you get from platform isn't necessarily, hey, here's your daily spreadsheet of leads, right? Because like as an
Yeah.
agent, you can get leads anywhere. You can get
Mm-hmm.
leads from Zillow, and there's 100 other companies that will
Yeah.
sell you leads. I want to put you in a position where when you're going on a listing appointment, that you walk in and you're already pre-sold so well because they've been following you online. They searched for you on Google and your videos popped up on YouTube, or the social media links popped up because now Google
Yeah.
actually indexes social media
Mm-hmm.
links into their search algorithm. So if you have a bunch of videos or a bunch of posts on, let's say, Facebook that are getting a lot of engagement, that affects your SEO with Google
Yeah.
too. So
Yeah.
when they're doing that searching, I want you to pop up so prominently, and
Mm-hmm.
they've kept seeing you for weeks and weeks or potentially months and months, that you don't really have to do a whole lot of selling in
Yeah.
that listing appointment because they've already decided, hey, like we want to work with Brandi.
Yeah. And I will say, like, I've been doing this for 9 years. So the first, I would say 8 years, 7 years, that was kind of a struggle because I, I was answering phone leads. I was getting like mailing postcards, we're doing mail outs, and those people just did not know me. So it was very hard. Those transactions were so hard and threw up so much difficulty that I could have like, you know, I didn't have to do that. Like, right. So I will say the biggest thing, and this isn't even just with platform, this is just with social media. When I started advertising heavily on social media earlier this year, The biggest takeaway was my customers were so nice and so, they immediately like already trusted me. If like the appraisal was bad, like I didn't get yelled at. Like they just knew I was trying to do my best because they trusted me. And so if anything ever goes wrong, they're like, I know
Right.
it's not you, Brandi. Like, and before I'm like, I mean, obviously someone's got to get blamed and it's most likely they're going to be the realtor. So I would say that's the biggest thing just from posting on social media. The customers are so much nicer, like, because they realize like that you're a human being. They see everything
Well,
on Facebook.
if they sort of like view you as a friend, again, you're
Mhm.
not actually literally friends in real life, but because they've been seeing so many of your posts, they know about your family, your kids, your hobbies, whatever, like what you do outside of work. They feel like they know you in
Yeah,
some sense. In their mind, they kind of view you as a friend. And
yeah,
so if something goes wrong in the transaction, frankly, regardless of whose fault it is,
hmm,
you're not going to blame your friend,
right,
right? So if they feel like at some emotional level they like you, they trust you, even if it is a little bit your fault, let's just
yeah,
say, they're
yeah,
not going to get mad. So that's actually, I think, a really underappreciated uh, side effect of
hmm,
marketing is that it kind of helps cultivate this like buffer, this margin of trust that you otherwise don't get if it's just a straight up Zillow lead or,
yeah,
you know, uh, a sign call or an open house walk-in lead, right?
yeah.
If they don't know you from any other agent, you're just some other agent to them. You don't have that margin of trust.
Yeah, no, and it was very hard to, I don't know if it's just my personality, but like I can't go talk to a wall like like probably you can, like you can go talk to anyone. I can't do that. So I'd much rather answer the phone and say, "Hey, this is Brandi." And they're like, "Hey, it's blah blah blah." And we just like literally pick up like we've been sisters for forever or whatever.
Sure. Because again, they actually feel like they know you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
And I love that. I love that.
So what marketing had you tried in the previous 10 years of being an agent? Because obviously I think the elephant in the room in this conversation as well, platform has helped kind of take your social media to the next level
Hmm,
this year, but it's like if you were already selling 100 homes a year,
hmm.
what got you to that point even
Yeah.
before you ever signed up for platform? Like what were
Yeah.
you doing to build your business?
I have a very unique story. I did not just like hop into this real estate thing. When I was in high school, I swore to my mom I would never do real estate. Like on the hand on the Bible, I'm not ever touching a for sale sign. I would never do, because I didn't really have a mom in high school because she was a realtor and she had started her own brokerage and she was working a lot, trying to hustle. She was the main one bringing in income for our family. So obviously now hindsight's 2020. I can totally appreciate the hustle. But so she built the business and her health started declining back in 2015-ish. And so I'm like, well, I'll just come help at the office. Like I'm not doing anything. I'll just type on a computer, like totally no big deal.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then she had to go away to a hospital. Just her health is way better now, but it was just a few months where I was basically just thrown into the fire. Like I didn't have her. I was just kind of learning. God knows the amount of mistakes that I made those first 6 months. But and then I got my license. I got my broker's license, and here I am. She basically handed me already a thriving business that I kind of like literally I had to let it die or had to like make it thrive, and
Right.
that
Right.
was that's a lot of pressure. But she's been doing it for 25 years now. So I really had like 14 years. Like, I'm like, okay, that's a long time to build something for your daughter to just let it die. So yeah.
It's almost like the family business then. Yeah. Yeah. Did was there any was there any specific marketing strategies or programs or tactics she was doing to build the
Yeah.
business, or was it straight up all word of mouth? Like what did you do
Yeah.
to get the business to this point?
Lots of word of mouth. And then we have always done, and I don't know how anyone feels about this, but we've always done mail outs. We
Okay.
have a lot of people like
Like
Tim will understand that we
are
have a lot of
you
snow. What is that?
are you selling sending postcards or what kind of mailers?
It's Okay, I send sometimes I send like recipe postcards, but it's mainly not postcards. It's like literally letters of like, hey, this home sale sold in your neighborhood, like, or guess what's happening in your neighborhood, or new listing, price reduced, all of that. We just make sure if there's a house around you that's for sale, we let you know because everyone wants to be nosy. So we let everyone know. And a lot of the time, like we have a lot of people that own land here or own a home here, but that are snowbirds. Like, so they live up north and they vacation here. And the people that they're not friends a lot on social media with anyone locally, or they don't see anyone here like during the summer. So we mail to them to let them know that we're the go-to agents here. And
Yep.
so if they do decide to sell, the snowbirds usually call us.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I live in Naples, obviously, so I'm not super far away from you, so I understand that as
Yeah.
well. And I feel like I can look at Florida and see it from a more like neutral, unbiased perspective because I'm not from here
Right.
either. I was actually born and raised up in Minnesota in
Mm-hmm.
a small town in central Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Moved to Florida about 10 years ago. So like seeing that dynamic of the fact that there is snowbirds and the population swells over the winter, during
Yeah.
during season, right?
Yeah.
Like all of that was new to me when I moved down here like 10 years ago. So um, cool. So okay, you've built this business up. You've been in it for about 10 years. Your mom had kind of got things really really rolling. You came in and you were already using social media at kind of like the organic level on your personal profile, but platform was really the first time you had run like paid ads.
Yeah.
Um,
For sure. We had grown our business page to about 7,500 people before we got platform, and I know that platform's grown that another 1,000 as of right now. But we did not run ads. I was very scared of them. Like I would try to go and like Google and YouTube how to run an ad, but golly, if anyone ever goes back into like the backside of like Meta, that crap is crazy.
it's it
Like,
it like somehow they find a way to make it more confusing every year. Like they're not
yeah.
improving it, they're like actively making it worse every year. So
Mhm.
that's basically job security for us, frankly, that
For
Facebook
sure.
like
For sure.
Facebook makes it so complicated to get ads set up, get ads accounts going, and not get your ad account shut down because they randomly flag people for stuff that we've learned so much over the years of frankly what not to do
Yeah.
to get your ad account shut down that it's kind of scary how much power they have over you. But yeah, so you were using social media already at a pretty high level
Mhm.
before you signed up for platform. So platform was really about just like, hey, this is working. Let's kind of pour more gas on the fire. Was that the mindset or?
Yeah, yeah. And I felt like also back in April, I started to go really hard on my personal Facebook page because I knew like the leads that was getting from there every now and then were really good leads. So I'm like, I'm just gonna just show everyone what I do every day via stories and be super vulnerable, real on my personal page. And it like lit a fire. Like there were so many Facebook messages every day still of people wanting to buy or sell. And they realized like, okay, she's not just opening doors too. There was a lot of reasons why I posted literally moments of my everyday life, mainly because I wanted people to know like work works, just like the new ad that y'all put out. Like I've found that to be true. Like people work with people who work, and they're not going to know you're working unless you're going to tell them. So, and maybe you call it bragging, maybe you call it boasting. I just call it good marketing. So I post at least 8 to 15 stories a day, and people eat that up. They love that because they're like, I've always wondered what it's like to be a realtor. I've thought about getting into real estate, and then I decided not to just because of your stories, like the stuff like that. And also just being like super, just regular feed post, being super vulnerable and letting people in, which is really hard, but it's very good therapy to write down and share parts of you with everyone that people trust you, and it matches what platform is running. Like it literally matches the vibe, so they're getting it in their mailbox, they're getting it on their social media, they're getting everyone talking about it,
Yep.
so we're
Yep.
hitting them from all angles.
Yeah, we've we've talked about it so much, this idea that ads that don't look like ads, right?
Mhm.
If you really want to be successful with social media marketing, whether you hire a platform or not, right? Because maybe you're listening to this and you're like, hey, I don't want to hire a platform, but what are some nuggets I can get out of this so I can
Yeah.
do this on my own? Cool. I would tell you, focus on making ads that don't look like ads,
Yeah.
because the biggest problem with social media ads in particular is that social media is an ecosystem built on organic content, right? That's not true of TV, though. That's not true of radio. That's not true of newspapers. That's frankly not true of anywhere else you could advertise, right? It's okay if your newspaper ad looks like an ad, because that's what people expect when they open up the newspaper, right?
Mhm.
It's okay if your TV commercial looks like an ad, because again, that's what people expect when they're watching TV or whatever. If they listen to a radio ad, same thing. Like, it's pretty easy to distinguish when the radio is on an ad versus when it's the program you're listening to, right? Social media is not that way. If your ads look like ads in social media, then people are subconsciously comparing them to the actual organic content that's popping up in their newsfeed. And the organic content, 9 times out of 10, is better, right?
Mhm.
It's more real, it's relevant, it's not salesy. And so the ultimate hack then is just, oh, well, if that's the case, then just make your social media ads not look like ads, right? Like,
Mhm.
post the type of thing as a paid Facebook retargeting ad that you would post on your personal profile anyways, not as an ad.
Yeah.
Because if it works well there, it's going to work really, really well as as a paid retargeting ad. And it sounds like that was already what you were doing, frankly, even before you hired Platform. So
Mhm.
now that you've hired Platform and you have this whole marketing apparatus behind you and this team managing this, for you, kind of behind the scenes, now it's just like pouring gas on a fire.
It totally is. For sure. Yeah. I mean, we've seen so much. People would comment about our social media before, but like even way more now because we're just like paying for them to see it several
And how
times.
how much how much are you spending every month on ads? Do you know what your ads budget is?
I was only for the first, until last week, I was just spending the minimum 800 with like $100 on a listing video,
Okay,
but we just upped that to 1,000. So I'm not even like spending like as much as some of the platform users are
sure,
spending
sure.
just because that's a little scary right now. It's definitely like,
It's
it,
working.
it's literally gas on the fire, just like you said. There's
Yep.
so much talk that everywhere I go. So the lady at Publix, I saw your video the other day. I'm like, oh, okay. I don't even know how to respond. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad. Like,
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, again, like, I always ask that question, how much are you spending on the ads? Because I think it's important to put that in the proper context of, hey, if someone hears that you're just blowing up on social media and everyone around town is talking about you, it's like, oh, well, is she spending $5,000 a month on
yeah.
ads? Or, it's like, no, she's literally spending $800 a month on her
Mhm.
ads to achieve that level of like brand
Yeah.
recognition in the community. That's incredible.
Yeah. And I mean, I think also it's anything that is good is going to come with work. So like it is not the easy route. It is not the quick route. It's not like the
Preach,
shortcut.
preach.
It is literally like 16 listing videos in the past 90 days. That's like we have like three more already on the schedule for this week. That camera being in my face, I could slap it around probably a little bit, but it's work. Like you would think like it's just easy to snap a photo of you, somewhere and then sending it in, but it's to fit that in with everything else that we're doing. It is work. But that is why, like, I did the count, like, we've done 33 ads already, and I just feel like it's definitely working, but you have to work too.
So that's awesome. Like, if you've done 33 ads, it's pretty easy math. If you've been a client for 3 months, that
Hmm.
means you've been averaging 11 ads a month. So obviously, that's almost 3 ads every single week are going out to your retargeting list, um, which means that in a given year, people are actually seeing over 100 ads from you.
Yeah.
If they're on your retargeting list, that means every year they're seeing over 100 new different ads from
Yeah.
you. So
And
like,
just one more point that I want to say too is that I didn't even realize until 2 weeks ago that I could my account manager my whole CRM list, and that can be used
Oh, your
as,
past client database. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
like we had 13,000 people like just sitting in an Excel sheet. So I like
Awesome.
sent it. I'm like, Trinity, can you use this? Like, will this help? I'm telling you, I've told that girl so many times, like, whatever you need me to do, I will do. Just tell me. And it's
Awesome.
working.
Awesome. Yeah, because obviously what that's called with Facebook ads is a custom audience. And so if you have a past client list, whether it's 500 people or 5,000 people, whatever, we can upload that into your ads account. And then that just becomes part of your retargeting list where when we run a retargeting ad, it's showing to those people. So they're seeing you over and over and over again, at kind of like a 40,000 foot level. If I zoom out and look at the platform strategy, the huge value of what we're providing to a realtor isn't necessarily leads that we help you close because, hey, I got this lead from this Facebook campaign. It's like it's usually much more fuzzy than that, where the business um where the business comes from. But when you have a sphere, right, most agents are underestimating. This is what it comes down to. Most agents are underestimating how much business they could be getting from their sphere if they just stayed hyper top of mind with their sphere, because frankly that's what's gotten you to 100 transactions plus a year. Is you've stayed pretty top of mind with your sphere. I think it sounds like you guys are, we're already doing a really good job, or of course you wouldn't be selling 100 homes a year, right? But why I think you're going to grow even more in the future is like, well, now you're staying like hyper top of mind with your sphere, rather than maybe hearing from you 4, 5, 6 times a year. People in your sphere are probably seeing you 50 times a year on social media because your ads are popping up like every week. And so the amount of referrals that you'll get long term from that, that's basically the difference between someone who personally knows you is going to work with you, right? Like if they personally know you, like, well, they're gonna list with you or they're gonna buy with you. This is the difference though of like someone who knows someone, that knows you. So it's kind of like 1 degree or a 2 degrees of separation. If your marketing is just this constant and this just uh, all encompassing, where they can't go anywhere and not see your post pop up on Instagram or Facebook, or they see your videos on YouTube, whatever, then if they're thinking about selling their house, even if they don't personally know you, but they have a friend who knows you, that's the difference between them being like, hey, I've seen these posts about, Brandi, I think we're going to go with her because I keep seeing them pop up. So that's definitely going to fuel it in the future. Yep. Yep. So I think what you just said is incredible. You guys are gonna sell, over uh 100 deals this year, over 100 closings this year, and you don't work on Sundays. So you're like Chick-fil-A. Many people would just assume if you sold 140 deals last year, you're on pace to sell 120 some
Yeah.
this year. Oh, well, she's probably working 80 hours a week every week, 7 days a week,
Yeah.
because that's the only way that the math could work to sell that many. It's like, no, no, you're doing all this without working on Sundays. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I just had to tell a very fun customer that follows me on Facebook this morning, like, I cannot, I can't help you with that. Like that, your house is not even under contract over in, Missouri. I can't. until you get the house under contract, it's so useless to go look at homes here in Florida. Like, I really don't want to waste any time. And that's so hard, but I'm hoping that they will, and most likely they will. They'll see the value in sticking with me and knowing that I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I'm just trying to save us both time. And then
Yeah. Nope.
every time I've done that, and I say this all the time, and I know this is controversial. When I go to listing appointments, when I talk to buyers and everything, I tell them, shop around. I tell them, shop around. I beg you to try to find something that matches what I'm bringing. And they never do. They never shop around. Like, if you give them permission to go shop you, they never will, because they're like, she's that confident. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
I don't want to waste, they don't want to waste their time. So, and they never do.
That's awesome. I mean, we've actually done entire podcast episodes before talking about this idea. So maybe I need to do some more in the future. But this idea that marketing is the ultimate work-life balance. And
Mhm.
you basically just described that, frankly, even better than I probably can. But marketing is the ultimate work-life balance.
Mhm.
What I mean by that is that often we chase work-life balance as a sort of like project management, or trying to have a schedule and checklist of what I'm going to get done every day, or what hours can I fit this in, this into or that into, or time blocking, or, all these various strategies to, that we call time management. Right. But ultimately what it comes down to is how much supply and demand do you have for your time? Right. And we know that your supply of time is limited. So it comes down to kind of managing and manipulating the demand for your time. And that's where marketing comes in. If the supply of your time is limited, there's obviously a certain number of hours in the week that you can or are willing to work. We need to make those hours as valuable as possible. And that's where if marketing positions you as not just being an expert agent, but the expert agent in your community, where you're in such high demand that people are like, I want to work with Brandi, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to just buy a house, or I don't want to just sell a house. I want to specifically work with Brandi because I've seen her marketing. It so impresses me. I want to know that I'm working with the best, right? That's the difference at a very just like a day-to-day practical level. That's the difference between someone calling you on a Saturday night saying, hey, I found a new listing. I want to go look at it Sunday at 2:00. Can you meet me there? And you just saying, no, unfortunately, I can't. I actually do not work Sundays. That's the one day I take to be with, my family. I'd be happy to show it to you Monday at noon. Does that work for you? And
Mhm.
if you are positioned correctly, if you have really strong marketing, that's the difference in that moment of that buyer being willing to say, you know what? Yep. I'll wait till Monday because I want to see it with you specifically. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to work with another agent. I want
Yeah.
to work with you. Right.
Yeah.
So you can
Yeah.
basically buy work-life balance by having excellent marketing, because in that moment, if you don't have excellent marketing, you know what happens? They hang up the phone and they call some other agent who will
Yeah.
show them the
Yeah.
home on Sunday. So at a very granular level, when you look at time management, when you look at how many hours you have for your friends, your family, yourself, marketing does affect all that. It's not just about how many leads are you bringing in. It's about how well positioned are you, where people are actually willing to wait and get in line to work with you because they accept no substitutes.
Yeah, and I've noticed that if I do, like, I don't do it anymore, but sometimes if I were to, like, well, yeah, I'll just go on Sunday at noon, because sometimes you get in your head and you're like, what if they really buy the house, it never works out, and they're just the worst people, like, to deal with, and that it never pays off. So, the best, like, and I will say probably 98% of the time, if I tell people no, they'll like, well, what works for you? And
Exactly.
that was not the
Exactly.
case years ago. That is why I feel like maybe I was a little bit hesitant to be in real estate. Like, I did not want people to just have to, like, I was just going where people told me to. Like, if you want to work with me, and I know this sounds very confident and I hope it comes off the right way, but like, if you want to work with me, we have to play by my rules, because I'm only one person and I can only do so much. But the people that stick with me, they will have a great experience.
And again, I want to just remind people listening to this, or if you're watching on, YouTube or wherever, that this advice is coming from someone who had over 100 closings last year. She's going to have over 100 closings this year. So you can protect your time that fiercely, and you can have a life outside of work, even while selling over 100 units a year, right? So it's not like, hey, this is great advice if you're only selling 20 homes a year. It's like, no, no, no. Brandi, obviously, we've said it 100 times. You're going to sell over 100 units this year. This time management piece works even at that level of scale and that level of volume, that you
Yeah.
protect your time, you don't work Sundays, and the marketing plays into that because frankly, in one sentence, they respect you more.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And they know, I mean, at night, like nighttime, I usually always have one or both of my kids at showings. They're usually playing in the front yard of the house that we're seeing. That is just what you get. If that is not for you, there are so many great other agents here that I can refer you to. That is just, I can't run around and be everything to everyone anymore. It was tiring and I almost lost myself. So I have to do it this way or I can't do real estate at all. It's either one or the other.
Have there ever been marketing programs or marketing companies or anything that you've tried that didn't work?
No, I really haven't tried anything else. We just did it the old fashioned way, the way my
Okay.
mom, did everything. And then we slowly kind of incorporated couple like just social media stuff. And I remember the first video that we did was probably like 8 years ago, and then we took our iPads and this was when we took the photos ourselves, and we made a video on the iPad and posted that, and it was not good. So that's literally the kind of marketing that we did before.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So again, you've been in the business about 10 years. So really these last couple of years are the first time in your career that you've been in like a slow market because uh, basically the market got better every year that you were an agent up until the last couple of years.
Yep.
What has that transition been like? Do you think it's easier now than it was a couple of years ago? Or how does this market right now just feel as an agent?
I definitely think like chaos of COVID was an adrenaline rush. It feels like it was just yesterday. And that was crazy. But I
And
would say like,
I'll add context because I don't know when people are going to be listening to this
okay,
episode, but in the moment we're recording this, interest rates are still like 7%.
yeah,
Home prices haven't come down a lot. They still just feel really, really unaffordable. So the market's kind of like just in this gridlock right now of sellers don't want to drop the price, but a lot of buyers aren't willing to go out and buy a house because, rates are 7%. So it's a tough time to be a realtor right now.
yeah.
So like just what does that feel like right now?
Yeah, I mean, to me, and this might not be like what most people think, but to me, I just feel like it's any other day, any other month. Like you just do the same things over and over. Like it doesn't, the interest rates really don't, they do have like they are a variable in our market, right? Like the people might be hesitant to buy, but there are still people like getting divorced, having babies, marrying. Like it doesn't really change much on our end. I keep doing the same thing over and over, and it just keeps working. So I don't know. It still feels very much. It obviously the activity, the adrenaline of it is definitely less than COVID, but it feels more like a stabilizing market, more neutralizing market, which I love
Sure.
because I'm all for like balance. But it's for me, I feel like it's kind of we just do the same thing as a real estate agent. You really, I mean, I know the outside world tells you different, but you really just do the same thing every day, no matter what the interest rate is or what prices are. You still do the exact same thing
Yeah,
every day.
you put in the work, you create content, you follow up with your leads, you show houses. I mean, like you just show up and do the work every day. Uh, are there any ads, Brandy, that you have not done yet, but that you've seen maybe some other platform agents do across the country that like you're hoping to do in the next month or two?
Yeah, I would say, and I know this is a big one, but I know the God Made a Small Business Owner one is a really great one. I've seen several platform members do it. I know that's a very big one, but I love our downtown area so much. And in the past 2 years, it has grown, and we have buildings from the 1800s that are just now being like transformed, and it's a new vibe downtown. And I would really like to do that one in the upcoming year.
Sure, sure.
That one is one that sticks out to me.
And then you'll be at the mastermind this year, right?
I will.
Yeah, because I suppose you don't have to drive too far. It's probably only
Nope.
what, an hour, 90 minutes away from you.
Yep.
So for those listening that don't have context there, we do an annual mastermind kind of conference for all of our clients every year. This year, we're actually expecting almost 300 people to attend, and it's only for platform agents that are actively working, in the platform marketing program. So it's actually not open to the public. It's kind of a private mastermind. So there's not a website you can go and sign up for and attend, the event unless you're actively part of the platform. So
Yeah.
that's a really important part of the platform is this community and this network across the country that we've cultivated of all the agent relationships. Have you been able to meet anyone in the platform via the Facebook group or anything, or how much has that kind of affected your
Yeah.
platform journey so far?
I love that private Facebook page. Like, I love it. When we first started, I went back as far as I could and read everything that I could. I think it's what people post there is really enlightening just to see what other people are doing, and just kind of what everyone's thoughts are on everything. The agent that is about 30 minutes away from me, it's another area that I service, but she has it. We've connected on Facebook. And have talked like a little bit just via messenger, but I'm hoping to meet her there at the mastermind. Like, I'm still super introverted, so
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
a
yeah.
little nervous about everything, but I am excited. I know I've heard great things about the past masterminds, and so I'm very excited
Well,
to meet everyone.
well, it is so much fun. So I'm looking forward to the mastermind. I'm looking forward to the mastermind for you too, because I think that's one of the biggest benefits of working with platform marketing is the annual event we put on where you get to meet other agents from all across the country. They're flying to Florida here in just a couple weeks, but they're from all across the country. California, Hawaii, Alaska, Maine. I mean, all across the country are coming down to Florida. And the one thing they all have in common is the platform marketing strategy. So that's what makes this event so different from other real estate conferences is typically a real estate conference is going to be put on by like a coach or usually it's like a brokerage puts it on. So it's like the annual Remax conference or
Yeah.
the family a reunion for KW or EXP Con or insert whatever brokerage you're with, right? They probably have an annual conference, right? And that's great. But those are going to be a little bit more generic, just almost by definition, because every agent in the room doesn't necessarily have a whole lot in common other than I'm a KW agent or I'm with EXP or whatever, right? The one thing that makes the platform mastermind unique is it's smaller by design. It's only going to be about 250, 300 agents, something like that. And they all have the marketing strategy in common. So it's kind of broker agnostic. Like no one cares at this event whether you're with, LPT, EXP, Real, KW, Remax, Century 21, whatever, right? No one cares. Or if you're an independent brokerage, no one cares. It's all the conversations are around local marketing, right? So what strategies are working best for you? Like, have you done a really cool client appreciation event that you can share? What's the best Facebook ad you've run? Have you done anything really creative with your listing video intros? And like everyone is totally willing to share their absolute best ideas because no one in the room is competition for you. Because obviously part of platform is market exclusivity. So everyone is genuinely willing to share their very best stuff because no one in the room is going to threaten them because no one in that room is their competition. So that's what I think that makes the platform event so unique. So if it's your very first time, attending, because again, you've only been a client for like 90 days, it's going to be awesome for you.
Yeah, I can't wait. My mom's coming with me, and I just know will get a lot of good information.
So again, you're 90 days in. I guess the final question I want to ask you is, you said you'd give it 6 months. So far, is platform about meeting expectations, exceeding expectations, below expectations? I mean, where are things with your marketing your business versus where you had hoped they would be with platform? What does that look like?
I think platform is doing exactly what I really wanted it to do. So I would say definitely meeting expectations. I know that I didn't expect to get anything within, I don't expect to get leads or anything from it in the first 90 days. But I think just the exposure, and I think it's such a long game. Like this strategy, if I've learned anything over the past 90 days, this is a long game strategy. Like this is something that like in the first 90 days, you're going to get a lot of compliments when people see you out. They're going to say, that was such a fun video that you did, or I see you all over my Facebook page. But it's more like in the future, years to come, like if we, which we do, just we do plan on staying with platform as long as we can. In the years to come, there will be people that I've said, I've watched you for years and I've finally decided
Yeah.
to,
Yep.
sell. And so it's for those people that you keep on pushing.
Awesome. I think that's a good place to end it. Unless there's any other advice that you would want to give someone of what you've learned in getting to a point where your business can,
Yeah.
have over 100 closings a year, is there any final advice, whether it's related to platform or not,
Yeah.
that you want to share with anyone listening to this?
Yeah, I think what I've learned the most in this year, even before hiring platform, is that people really love when you share your life, and people do not know that you work unless you tell them to. So whether that's, via mailers or via social media is great because it's free. You need to show your life, show the truth behind like who you are. And people love to, it's like, watching. It's why the Kardashians are so dang famous. Like they literally let you into every part of their life. People love to watch drama unfold. They like to watch someone else's life, unfold. And so I would say if even if you can't, if you're, if platforms already taken in your area, post your life, post what you're doing. Even if you have no buyers, you're going to go tour empty houses and take stories and saying you're touring all of these houses, and people believe what they see. So make them believe something.
Yeah. Put yourself out there, right? Create more content, because there is this element of fake it till you make it, right? You want to like put as much content out there as possible to make it look like you're as busy as possible. Even sometimes you're not, right?
Yeah.
But you're like, hey, I'm gonna go tour a house. People don't need to know that you're not touring it with anybody. You're touring it alone,
Yep.
right? Like
Exactly.
put as much content out there as possible, and eventually the phone will start ringing. That's just how it works. Because most agents are putting nothing out
Yeah,
there.
I mean, the same thing is like, post that you're having to do 5 CMAs today for property owners. Does someone else want one too? They're going to think 5 people asked you to give them the value, even though you're just doing it just to do it.
Right.
It's perception is reality.
Absolutely. Well, Brandi, I'm excited to meet you in person in just a couple weeks here at the Mastermind. But we'll see you guys on the next episode of the Platform Marketing Show. Thanks, Brandi.
Thank you.